Jim touched on this briefly during his presentation. Credit counseling is a requirement for the filing of the petition. If you get credit counseling outside the 180 days, your case is going to get dismissed. If you get it, this is surprising, but I will say it anyway, if you get it after the petition is filed, it's going to be dismissed. The way the statute is now written is to be, you have to receive it during the 180-day period ending on the petition date. Now, this is quibbling. In the materials, we say the petition date is day 1 and you count backwards. Technically, in my mind, the petition date is day 180 and we count backwards 179, 178, 176 until we get to day 1, and that's the beginning of your 180-day period. If you're at day 0 or day -1, you're going to get dismissed. So start at 180, count backwards, and you're not going to get it. And even though the 180-day period ends on the petition date, you don't get time after the petition is filed. It has to be before the petition is filed. I'm going to spare all of the non-bankruptcy practitioners much time on the exemption law because it's become a pain for all of us. Because some people were able to buy homesteads in Florida and claim them entirely exempt, Congress had a fear that everyone in the country was going to move to Florida, buy a McMansion, and claim it exempt. So now, because of that, we have to deal with the calculation of what exemptions a debtor may claim. The quick version is, you look at the 2 years prior to the filing of the petition. If the debtor was domiciled in one place during the entire 2 years, which for us would have to be South Dakota, they have to have been domiciled in South Dakota for 2 years, then they can use South Dakota exemptions. If they've lived anywhere else, been domiciled, I keep saying that, I want to be careful. If they've been domiciled anywhere else for 1 day during that 730-day period, you then look at the 180-day period before the 730-day period. And then, wherever they were domiciled for the longer portion of that 180-day period than anywhere else, that's what you have to use. You use that state's exemptions. If that state allows you to use the federal exemptions, you can use the federal exemptions. If because of whatever wacky residency requirements that state has for claiming their exemptions, you can't claim any exemptions, then you can claim the federal exemptions. So my advice, and this is probably worth writing down, if someone comes in and they've been domiciled anywhere other than South Dakota in the last 2 years, send them to Jim Craig. I think that's really all. I encourage you to read the rest of the materials. I don't want to keep anyone here. You've been great for sticking around this late on Friday afternoon. I do have one more quick thing, Casey, if you bring that up. When we've done bankruptcy seminars in the past, we've made a practice of asking the staff to nominate an attorney that they enjoyed working with since the last time we had a seminar. One of the first recipients of this was Kurt Ewinger, who, if you remember, passed away a couple of years ago now. And so we're thinking about making this the Kurt Ewinger presentation. There are no guidelines for the award. We don't tell the staff to pick the attorneys that's the best looking, the tallest, the shortest, the cleverest, or anything else. We simply ask them, what attorney would you want us to recognize in front of a group of peers? And this year they came up with 2. One of whom is not here. Fortunately, his partner is here. And I won't drag it out too much longer, but I will say that the clerk's office for this year's, and they did a really cool U.S. Bankruptcy Court mug, which is worth at least $5. This year's recipients are Laura Colmask and Claire Gary. So, Laura, if you come and get your
While our recipients are coming forward, remember your green evaluation forms in the back. They are for our ongoing excellence and improvement, and just turn them in over on the table there, maybe as we're leaving in lieu of any other place, and they can be ripped free from the back. But let's give another appreciation of thanks to Judge Nail and Casey for helping with the presentation. Thank you. Anything else for the good of the order? All right, we are concluded then, and best wishes in debtor creditor law.